What is up guys, Wraec is here with a new video, and today we are back on the Pioneer server. Pioneer server, if you've no idea, that is the testing server for AFK Journey. So everything that you see today can be subject to change. Oftentimes heroes are changed before they are released on the official servers. So keep that in mind. Today we have access to the new heroes, to the upcoming heroes. You can see we have Pandora here, we have Seda, we have also Pang here as well. And today I've focused my testing mainly not on Seda actually, but on Pandora, because Pandora, from the reading of the text and from what I've seen till now, seems like the most interesting hero of the bunch. And so I wanted to show you guys what really happened within the testing, what you can use her for, and what these skills are at the moment. So mainly she revolves around the box she holds in her hand. That is her ult, and really that is what everything that she does comes from. The main part is actually not her ultimate, but this ability, Box Blessing. When a battle starts, Pandora pulls the rearmost ally into her box, making them invincible but unable to cast skills, and after 4 seconds the ally is released from the box, and if Pandora is still alive when that happens, the ally gains 1000 energy, so enough to do an ult, as well as 35% attack for the next 10 seconds, gets later on buffed to 50% attack. So super huge attack buff, and 1000 energy, enough to do an ult. This is very, very interesting actually, and the way you can use this and the way that most people have used it for the moment is something like this. So here we actually have a fight against Puzzle, who was kind enough to set a defensive team here with Saida there, and I tried to beat it with Cryonaya. And I wanted to put Cryonaya into the box so that she gains 1000 energy, and you can kind of see how that works out. It's not on ×2 speed, she's now in the box over here, pops back out, has full energy, and well, Puzzle was running Dunlinger, so she can't actually ult while the Dunlinger is up. This is a disadvantage, but as you know, on the main server, and not that many people have Dunlinger, so while we are facing Dunlinger in like every single match here on Pioneer, that situation changes quite a lot. And you can imagine, after 4 seconds having a full ult on a Cryonaya and throwing that against the enemy, that can be very, very devastating. And the next thing you notice is we really get the back-to-back ults, and part of the reason for that is actually Pandora. Pandora is able to energy feed a hero. The hero that was put in the box actually continues to be healed by her and to be energy fed, and you can achieve back-to-back ults here with Cryonaya, even in PvPs, pretty easily, and get to pretty strong damage. There are counters to that, I don't want to talk around this, but this is fairly potent, and this is something that if you are in a situation against any normal team and within 4 seconds you get a Cryonaya ult thrown in your face, that is a big problem. So Pandora has a very great synergy actually with those hyper carry heroes, you can say. Hyper carry heroes was a term that was mainly used for stuff like Dynel, for Cryonaya, for those heroes that have huge devastating ults, and those in general are very, very nice together with Pandora, because you have this great effect of giving the 1000 energy at 50% attack. I mean, 50% attack is something you have to keep in mind. Little bit of an added thing that has also come up during the testing. I've noticed in recent times there are more and more counters to Cryonaya. One thing that was used, and that probably was the first time when I really saw it, was the Damon Shamira combo, where they just do enough true damage to kill her through her shield, because a shield can't actually protect you from true damage. It doesn't block any of that. So as soon as you have like an enemy that can deal damage and can deal a lot of true damage, well, you kind of start struggling with Cryonaya, and thus also with Pandora. So if we kind of show a similar situation here against the true damage dealer, here, for example, we have Hobo attacking my defensive team, I think, with a Balrun. And Balrun, of course, super potent true damage dealer, and also true damage dealer that is able to deal true damage while he is within the Cryonaya ult, because he can just activate his passive abilities, which allow him, once he reaches full HP, to deal true damage in his surroundings, and he is actually able to punch through Cryonaya's shield. We can see Cryonaya starting her ult there, not really getting through the shield very, very easily, gets the passive skill, gets the hit on the Cryonaya done. So did it work in this situation? I mean, if you think about it, we had the Pandora buff, we had everything on her, we just weren't able to take out the Belrun fast enough. And there are other situations where similar stuff can happen. So there are counters to like those hyper carry approaches. A way more easy way to take care of a very quick ult is just Lily May. If you put Lily May on your team and the hero that comes from Pandora's box is the first one to ult, which in a situation where you protect that hero with Dunlinger and go for Spellbind, by the way, Spellbind in this situation also updated, is a little bit Chinese, but yeah, this now is even stronger, and therefore we with Dunlinger, the first hero to ult is usually the hero that is protected by him. And if that is the Cryonaya, well, it will obviously get hit by Lily May. If you don't run a Dunlinger, well, you might just get bursted down, because the other thing with Pandora is, yeah, she protects the hero for 4 seconds, but only gives the energy when she's still alive. And she is rather squishy. Doesn't really get better, because she has like an ability that causes corruption. Corruption is a rather interesting effect. She has very weird skills, in my opinion. But every time she casts her skills, she restores HP and energy to the allies she released from her box. Okay, we heard about that before. By the way, this gets buffed. 320% here and 120, and also buffed by skill power as well, so you can upgrade this even more. So this is very, very good. It's only to the ally released from the box. And at the same time, the box applies Corruption, a permanent debuff that increases damage taken by 10% to both Pandora and one random enemy not yet affected by Corruption. Pandora's Corruption can stack up to 4 times, while the enemy's Corruption does not stack. So, this is like for this part of the sentence you think, oh, Dream Realm, and then it's like, yeah, it's a 10% debuff really for the enemy, so they take 10% more damage, where we have more potent effects on, for example, the likes of Rainier or Thorin. So this is not really something that would be sufficient to make her great for Dream Realm. But the active part is interesting. We have unique debuffs that we can inflict on the enemy for next 10 seconds and prioritize enemies not already affected by the skill, and the number of unique debuffs equal to her Pandora's current corruption stack. So if she has 4 stacks of corruption, which would mean she takes 40% more damage, which realistically, let's be honest, if somebody takes 40% more damage and gets hit by some stray whirlwind from a Cryonaya, they are done for. So really, it's not too realistic to reach the 4 stacks here and be still alive unless you heavily invest into making her stay alive. And these debuffs include reducing haste by 45, which is very potent, energy recovery 45%, vitality by 45, or cause the affected unit's normal attacks to a 45% chance to miss. So if you notice, those are 4 different debuffs. So if she has 4 stacks of corruption, she will inflict all of that to an enemy every 5 seconds, which is pretty great, honestly. The downside with the 40% more damage taken, in my experience, usually makes her die rather often, but this is an effect that you shouldn't underestimate, because that is really quite a lot of stuff that she can throw on the enemy. Just keep that in mind. She isn't easy to keep alive on the battlefield. That is the general takeaway that I had there. She also has an ult. By the way, yeah, of course. It has Calamity and Hope. She's protected by Hope, so it's not affected by the skill. And Pandora opens the box to unleash Calamity, causing all units on the battlefield to flee in fright towards their own side for 5 seconds, lose HP, and when the fright effect wears off, their attack is reduced by 10% for 8 seconds. This actually, and I want to show that to you quickly in the trial stage, this is the case for both sides. So not only for the enemies that we are facing, but also for our allies, which we will see on the soldiers there. They will also run away, and well, they are already on the maximum side, and you can see the red symbol there. We also get the attack debuff, so she attacks debuffs not only the enemies but also the allies, and this can be a little bit annoying. This is not a small amount of damage actually that she deals to the enemies and the allies. I try to kind of make that work in a little bit of a PvP match. We can check that out. Okay, didn't actually find the fight, so we have to kind of replicate that. The idea was that I put the Dunlinger debuff or the Dunlinger buff protection on like the Pandora and try to get her to ult a little bit more. Enemy actually facing us with a very potent team here with the Belrun. Keep in mind, they have charms, we don't. Usually I don't equip charms for testing. This enemy did that, and thus is a lot stronger than we actually are, but still for the testing purposes, keep that in mind. He also has an Belrun there as an enemy, which is a little bit of a problem because Belrun is unaffected. That means he doesn't get hit by fear. and is protected from that, and at the same time can't be thrown back by our Kulu. So that is something that you kind of want to keep in mind. So he just runs straight through that, but you can see the enemy damage over time, like those small dots hitting them. That is actually not a small amount of damage. That is quite potent. We can watch that one more time, maybe keep an eye out for when this wave appears and the enemies run away from us. So this can really work out. And at the same time we see another effect here. There you can see it. Kind of interesting. At the same time we see another effect here. The other effect that I showed at the beginning of the fight actually. And maybe you keep an eye out for that one more time. At the beginning of the fight, you can see that Kulu's put into the box. And this results in her actually placing her wall a little bit later. So only when she pops out of the wall, out of the box, the wall actually appears. So you can delay the casting of such passive skills. I tested this also with some other heroes. For example, with Hogan. Hogan has an Mythic Plus ability that spawns 2 allied goons, I would say you would call them. And those aren't spawned until he comes out of the box. So such passive skills are delayed on there. If you try to put Skalita into the box, which I thought could be kind of funny, it will actually not work. Skalita will go into the air, and the Pandora will select the next rearmost hero to put into the box. So that is also something that you want to keep in mind. Talking about Mythic Plus, let's put a look at this. After Pandora is defeated, the box stays on the battlefield. It is indestructible, unaffected, and won't be prioritized as a target. It has an energy cap of 1000 and recovers 70 energy per second. At full energy, the box unleashes Panic Projection again, which is her ult, and but without the HP loss effect, so no damage, it's just like Fear. Every 5 seconds also casts Tainted Tribute on a random enemy, but inflicts only 1 random debuff. That was the ability that we saw right there, with the 45% and 45 debuffs down there, so this is a single one. You can increase the box energy recovery by upgrading her, and the Panic Projection attack reduction effect on enemies becomes permanent is the +10 effect, which is rather potent. The thing I have to say for this is the fights at the moment that we had during the testing were so short that I've never actually seen the box do the ult. Has never actually happened. It takes so long. This is just the problem. It takes 10 seconds for the box to really get to an ult. And I don't think it starts at her energy, so it just takes a rather long time to get to that point. The Supreme Plus is in this situation also interesting, and the ally that is put into the box is immune to Panic Projection, so is protected by Hope, the same as Pandora is, so won't be struck by the Fear effect, and thus is basically unaffected to this. But you can be unaffected and like still not be inflicted by Fear. So it's not like only Hope protects you, it's also that in general every unaffected that you can have. Here, for example, Barrow is unaffected by receiving bonus max HP while transitioning to Celestial form, and in his Celestial form he's also unaffected, becomes unaffected permanently. He will never be inflicted with Fear, so this will just never work against him. And this is something to keep in mind. What is like the takeaway from this? The general takeaway from this was that the ult really didn't do too much. I have one more plan which will be a separate video. I have to do a whole lot more experimenting than I had time today, about the Fear CC. I want to make like a full Fear team because we have 3 different sources of it right now, Sylvina, Damon, and also Pandora, and kind of combining them would be very cool. And mostly, you use her for this effect of just having one hero, giving them 1000 energy, giving them the 50% attack, and letting them throw a big ult, which kind of becomes less potent with more true damage dealers in the meta. So against Balrog teams that can struggle, but it's still nonetheless a very interesting thing that you can do different combinations with. I had one very cheesy fight we can take a look at. So here it is. I tried to combine it with Hodgkin, which is really cool. Because Hodgkin is immune to physical damage, and I noticed this team mostly does physical damage. And then I wanted to see, okay, how big does his ult actually get? We have Fizz immunity there, so the China can't actually do anything to us with the ult. Despite us getting hit quite a ton there, we also have passive energy, passive HP recovery. And here we have the box. You can see how long this really takes to fill up. There it is one single time. Okay, I had seen it before. I was caught here. Ladies and gentlemen, caught to be a liar on this one. We can watch it one more time to kind of see the box work there. So yeah, this is also very interesting because you kind of have different combinations, giving you 50% more attack. So there we have the box. Yeah, it ticks up very, very slowly. Keep in mind this will be even slower when you are at the Paragon deficit. And there we get it. So there it now happens one single time. Has a super long animation. Oh, it was blocked by Dundinger. Ah, very interesting. Okay, the box can be blocked by Dundinger. We get to know stuff here. That is pretty cool. Didn't see that last time. I wanted to mainly show you that you can get like permanent fizz immunity here on Hodgkin with that. And yeah, it can be pretty cool. She is a little bit hyped at the moment. Maybe that is something that we should also talk about. She's a little bit hyped at the moment, because she has this super powerful effect, and I can see why. I can kind of understand that if you put up this combination of Pandora with, for example, the Cryonire or Diurnal potentially too, and you put that on a battlefield against somebody that doesn't really have a Dundinger, that probably doesn't have a Bellrun. Many people skip Bellrun. And or have him at just like a lower Paragon. High Paragon heroes are difficult to acquire. It is very easier to have like a Shamira or something. Then you could absolutely steamroll with a Pandora together with a Cryonire. Absolutely. You could absolutely steamroll probably in Arena, because I tried this in Arena. We didn't really use these skills. We didn't really use the faction skills or any of the artifacts. You don't really need that. You can get you to 4 seconds in an ult on a Cryonire in Arena without using any fancy faction mechanics. And this is inherently powerful. This is inherently powerful. It's also inherently rather weighty. And might be interesting for a lot of people. I don't really see the ult. Like, I think the fright is pretty cool. Hitting our own heroes and frightening them too is not that cool. I like the debuffing. I said before, like, the Athalia sustain teams with, like, her on the battlefield, that could be very strong. I don't think so anymore. I don't necessarily think she's such a great choice for, like, an Athalia team. I think you wanted to have something that revives a little bit more. Maybe Seda, we'll talk about this in another video, and we'll take a look at her. I think mainly for PvP, she will be used for the box blessing and maybe the debuffs. That will be about it. And then you will need a combination hero. So if you don't have like a hero that hugely profits from getting an instant ult, then it will probably be not that interesting. I saw some people test it with Tazi, not really liking it too much. I think Cryonire, Diurnal, that is really the area of comfort, where you will probably see the most benefit. She has a great effect though. Essentially, she is an updated version of Rowan, just not for the full energy feed. Rowan will probably still rather see his place in AFK stages just to feed more than one hero, essentially. But Pandora, super fast ult if you want it, and probably a meta PvP choice. For many teams. I think she will see a lot of play in PvP, in Supreme Arena. She will be in one team. Let's not talk that down. There will be one team that will use her. Nobody can. That is not really a discussion. I think just with that powerful effect, as long as you have her, you will place her there. Having her, another topic. I don't think it's live right here at the moment, but there will be a dimensional rate up. It is live, ladies and gentlemen. There will be a rate up again, which, in this situation, has like the Pandora rate up invite letters, which are like the dimensional invite letters. But on this one, uses the normal ones. Good that we look into that. This uses normal invite letters. So I can just throw a normal invite letter here. Ah, that is cool. So it's not really a dimensional rate up. It is a normal rate up. What I heard afterwards was that she's not going to come to all hero recruitment, because in the wishlist we don't actually have the dimensional faction, but that you can get her in epic recruitment. So she will be in rate up and then go to epic. So yeah, the easiest way to get her is right now, because now you can of course go ahead and you can use gems and get her in the normal rate up. You can also buy rate up invite letters and everything, so, and can make use of the other heroes appearing there of course as well, because there are many packs available that if you want, you can of course buy some dragon crystals from our sponsor. which as always is loot bar, the cheapest dragon crystals for AFK journey that you can buy. Just go through the login top up, I recommend that to you, and click the link down in the description, make yourself an account, because you will get some discount coupons that will make your purchase even cheaper. And yeah, I've used them myself, I've made a whole lot of good experiences, just a great service, and can definitely recommend them if you want to get some dragon crystals to prepare for Pandora. So overall, my assumption really is that they didn't hold back in the same way they did on Natsu and Lucy, just because she is more available. She's not the hero that they have to discontinue after the rate up because some form of collab ended. They can still go ahead and make her available for summons through the epic summon, and she will be easier to get, which is cool. I will personally go for her. I kind of want to have her P4. It's a great PvP choice. In terms of like DR and AFK stages, we have to look. I'm not too sure about AFK stages, don't really see that. Dream Realm we have to test. If you want to see the effect that the charms have, we are going to go from Legendary to Mythic now towards the end, so when a battle starts, first time the cast HP ratio drops below 50%, gains a big shield. Makes sense, we want to keep her alive, we talked about this. And then we have Fizz and Magic Death increase and becomes unaffected. So it's a little bit of a survivability charm, not really increasing her damage, but having more survivability on her certainly is great. So for me, she's a summon at the moment. Keep in mind, can change. She can be changed up and might see different effects in the future. Can we watch the old animation? Yeah, that is cool as well. I like that. So with that, I would say I wish you a great day. Tell me what you think about Pandora down in the comments, and we'll see us in the next one.